Well, um, I went to college. We had a very good tutor who, apart from teaching the painting and decorating um, course that I was on, he was also very skilled at decorative paint effects, and so he would show us. He would all the different skills involved with, and all the tools and all the equipment. Obviously they were all oil based back in those days. It was traditional oil glazes. So we would we would, I would learn as much as I could from him, and then I went on to refine my skills. Went on a number of courses. Then obviously we transitioned to acrylics at some point, and there weren't really it wasn't really anywhere that could teach you apart from the manufacturers. Went on a couple of their courses, and then I basically taught myself to use acrylics based on the techniques and the skills I had already, and I went on to work out how to use the acrylics. Art's been a big theme throughout my life. My grandfather was an artist, and I spent a lot of time with him when I was younger. As I say, I was encouraged by the tutor at the college to try out these paint effects, and he encouraged me to keep going with them afterwards. I just sort of kept going down that route. I've done a few things. Obviously, I moved into a few areas in the decorating world, but the paint effects, the traditional paint effects, have always interested me. I've been worked in restoration, and I do a lot of work for regular clients who have older properties, large homes, stately homes, etc. And there's always a need for someone like myself to on the refurbishment side of things, where paint effects may be starting to age and or get damaged. There's always a need for someone like myself to come in and restore these finishes, and it appeals to my artistic side, and it's something that that I enjoy doing. I think I enjoy all aspects of my work. I do like to chop and change as much as possible. I don't like to sort of be doing the same thing all the time. I'm currently working. I enjoy doing painted furniture. I'm currently working on a display cabinet. So I've just started working on that. I'm actually going to be filming that, the progress that I make with that, and that will be forming part of an upcoming course. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. It's in a bit of a bad state. I purchased it from a second-hand shop, and it needs a bit of work doing, which is good. I enjoy doing that. It needs a bit of refurbishment, some TLC, and then I'm going to be that'll be painted up, and then I'm going to do a few extra sort of craft. I've got some craft finishes that will be overlaid onto that work, and I think it's going to be an interesting one. I'm quite looking forward to it. I've been doing the studio-based courses for my studio here in Hythe in the southeast of England, and they've been really popular. Obviously, I've not been able to run the courses in person over this year. Really, it was too difficult to organise. So what I'm hoping to do is to have all the courses that I teach here in the studio will be taught online now, and that will include stone effects. There'll be a sandstone blocking effects, and there'll be granite and other types of stone, malachite, for example, and there will be some other furniture painting courses as well going up in the future, and there may be I've got an idea for a gilding course as well in the future, but I think the next one will be the stones. There will also be there'll be add-ons to the courses that are up at the moment, the marbling and the wood graining courses. I plan to be doing some additional material for those, and there'll be, because obviously these courses you can only do so much in one course, but these effects you can really, it's almost endless, the amount of work, the amount of extra parts that I can add to these courses. So that's something I want to do. But the next one will be the stone. Yeah, I mean, I still use oil glaze scumbles in traditional sort of situations. There's absolutely a case to keep on using them, especially for refurbishment and restoration work. I mean, there are a lot of advantages for using oil glaze, medium still, but there are a lot of disadvantages. Obviously, one of the biggest advantages is that they allow you a lot of time. Oil glaze varnishes allow you a lot of time to play around. They dry very slowly. However, that's one of the disadvantages. They can dry too slowly, and you have other issues as well. They tend to smell a bit more, and I guess one of the biggest problems with oil glazes is that they will change colour. The oils in the glazes oxidize over time, and you might have a nice white Carrera effect, a marble, and in time that will unfortunately turn yellow. So I do use oil glazes. I tend to use them for darker effects, but I have switched almost entirely to acrylics. I find that the current range of acrylic glazes from the likes of Polyvine or Tentico also make a good one. The online courses are based on the studio courses. I would take someone, hopefully, I mean, they may be a beginner, they may not. They may already have experience in paint effects, or in painting in general. But the idea is to assist someone or to help someone along to learn the paint effect that they're interested in. I'll explain all the materials and tools that you need, all the equipment, to show you how to prepare the boards. If or I mean, and that obviously preparing the boards, you can use that technique when you're preparing the particular piece of furniture or item that you might want to paint. It's the same preparation technique, and then you'll be taken right from the beginning, mixing the glazes, and applying the paint effects, the different layers, to create the effect that you're interested in. And then obviously important side of it, you need to make sure that you protect your work. So I'll take you through all the different varnishes and sealants and finishes that you can use to protect your work, depending on where you might be placing these items, whether it's inside or outside. So yeah, so that's basically how I've tried to organise the online courses. It depends how you look at it. I mean, obviously you would have to buy a certain amount. You don't. I mean, you would need to buy the glazes. You would need to buy a varnish, some paints for the base coats. You'll probably be looking for something like a 500 milliliter bottle of Scumble. I think you're looking at about 13-14 pounds, something like that. But I mean, that goes an awful long way. You'll be able to do a lot of pieces of furniture and items with that, with a 500 milliliter bottle. The varnishes are similarly priced. Good, good quality varnishes. The paints themselves, the primers and base coats, you can use just regular paints, eggshells, and primer undercoats, acrylics. Obviously, we're using acrylics in this instance. Or you can use really whatever's around the house. I mean, if you've got something that's lying around the house, some old acrylic eggshell, or even some emulsion paints, as long as you use the right primers. I tend to use Zinta primers, because I know that say if I'm doing a piece of an old piece of furniture, if it's got a particular finish on it, something like an oil or a wax or something, then the Zinta primers will seal as well as prime. But if it's something like a board, like just a regular MDF or plywood board or something, then just a regular primer will do. So you don't need to spend a lot of money on base coats and primers, really. But it's really the Scumble glazes and the sealers, the varnishes, etc. that would cost the money, and then whatever tools that you might need. If you're doing a marbling effect, obviously you'll need an artist brush of some sort, a lining brush, something like that. But you can pick them up fairly. You don't need a very high quality one. You can pick them up fairly inexpensively, and you'll need a reasonably good quality decorators paintbrushes, an inch or an inch and a half, or maybe a 2 inch, depending on the size of work that you're doing. You want to get a good quality one, as good a quality that you can afford. Again, you're probably looking at about £6 or £7 for a good quality paintbrush. Again, that will last you for a long time, and then there are some tools that you will need to buy if you're doing a wood graining course, for example. Some of the heart grainers, the rockers, and the combs, they can work out a bit more expensive. But if you're just going into it to have a go, to try something out, then there are ways. I've explained ways on the courses, ways to reduce your cost a little bit, and alternatives to using the more expensive items. And there are ways of making your own equipment as well. So it doesn't have to cost a lot. I do go through that on the courses. It's surprise, you know, if you're using these scumble um, um, paint mediums, then the reason for using them is to keep the work open, stop it from drying too quickly. So you do have time to play around, and you can, and as I explain on the course, you can quite easily rectify any mistakes. I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think if you know, we all make mistakes, and very often I found that some of the mistakes I make, I tend to leave in because they're often some of the best parts of the project. So you know, if you make a mistake, it's not a problem. You can either start again from scratch, or you can clean your work a little bit, and you can reapply the paint. You will have plenty of time for doing that, but it's all explained on the videos on the course.